Hi there, crafty crowd. Welcome back to my channel. In today's episode we are going to crochet this beautiful little butterfly. Summer is almost here, so we need some butterflies in our lives, right? Okay, so I've already done a few of them and I used different types of yarn, cotton mostly, and this one is made by using cotton and acrylic blend, and this is the one I will actually demonstrate for you today. Okay, so for this one I am using this, it's a scrap yarn, to be honest. It's from a previous project that I have unraveled. You can use any type of yarn you like. You also need a crochet size hook that matches your yarn, and I'm using a 3.5 millimeters. And also you'll need some scissors, and that's mostly all of it. It's a fun and nice project. Let's get to it. Before we start, just please ignore any background noise. My daughter is having fun, right? Okay, so as you can see, I'm starting with a magic ring or a magic circle, and then I'm going to chain 8. If you're a complete beginner and you are unsure how to do these chains or the magic ring, please go and check up my other videos in slow motion on how to do the basic crochet stitches. Okay, once we're done with this chain, now turn the chain slowly and you'll notice there are some bumps on the back of the chain. Okay, we'll be working into these exact bumps or loops. I'm calling them bumps, but they are basically loops. We're going into the first one. It's a bit difficult, but you'll get to it. Okay, yarn over, pull through. We're basically picking up another loop, and we'll do this all along the chain. Into each bump we're going in, yarning over and picking up a loop. Working into these back loops sometimes can prove difficult, but go slowly and take your time. At the end of the chain we should have 8 loops on the hook. Go ahead and count them, make sure you have 8 loops. Then go into the ring, pick up another loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and so on until the end of these loops. Okay, the first row is done. Now we'll have to begin our second row. In order to do that, we are going to make a decrease. So we're going into the first back loop and we are going to slip stitch. Once we've done that, we'll move on and continue with our row just like we did with the previous one. We are going into each of the back loops, picking up a loop, and then at the end of the row we should have 7 loops on our hook. Okay, now we're done. Let's count our loops. We have 7. We're going into the ring, picking up another loop and going back. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and so on until the end of this row. For the next row, we are going to make another decrease, which means going into the first back loop and making a slip stitch. Now work the rest of the row as shown previously. At the end of this row, we should have 6 loops on the hook. Go into the ring and pick up another loop. Then work the return pass as shown previously. To begin the next row, do another decrease. Go into the first back loop. I'm loosening mine just a little bit. Go into that back loop and slip stitch, then work the rest of the row as shown previously. At the end of the row, you should have 5 loops on your hook. Go into the ring and pick up another loop, then work the return pass as shown in the previous rows. Alright guys, the final row is finally done. So this is the first wing we were working on, and we worked our 4 rows, and now we need to finish this wing by slip stitching into every single back loop. Insert your hook into the first back loop and slip stitch. Now move on to the second back loop and slip stitch as well, and do this until the end of the row. Once we're here, we have to do another slip stitch inside the ring. Now we're done with the first wing. Let's tighten this ring a little bit. Okay, so you can see this is the one we worked on, and this is the one we need to work on now. For the lower ring, we need to chain 4. Now tighten the ring a bit if needed. Turn your chain and work into the back of every loop along the chain. Now we have 4 loops on the hook. Go into the ring and pick up another loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and so on until the end of the row. Now we are going to work the second row just the same without doing any decreases. We are going into the back loop, each of the back loops, and picking up a loop. At the end we are going to pick up a loop from inside the ring, then yarn over and pull through 2 each time until the end of the row. This wing is almost done. It's the smaller one, so this is the one we are working on. We've done our 2 rows and it's time to close the wing. Similarly to what we've done with the previous wing, we are going into each of the back loops and slip stitching. Now slip stitch inside the ring as well. Alright then, now that these 2 are done, it's time for us to move on to the third lower wing. In order to do that, we are going to work just the same as the previous one. We are going to chain 4 to begin our wing, and then we are going to pick up a loop in each of the back loops along the chain. Go into the ring and pick up a loop as well, and now do the return pass as I've shown you. Now work this row one more time just like the other one and close your wing by doing slip stitches, and I'll meet you at the end. Now that the second lower wing is done, it's time for us to move on to the second upper wing. To begin this wing, we are going to chain 5. Now turn your work as usual And finally, I realized I can use this smaller size hook to loosen up my back loops for a bit. Pretty late, but still good. Okay, so we're going to work just like before into each of the back loops along the chain. Now we have 5 loops on the hook. Go into the ring and pick up another loop, then do the return pass, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and so on until the end of the row. Now this wing is worked a bit differently than the other one because we started with 5 chains only, and now instead of decreasing we have to increase. To do that we are going to chain 1 and loosen our first back loop, and then we're just going to work into each of the back loops. We're going to go in, pull up a loop, move on to the next one, pull up a loop, and so on until the end of the row. We have 6 loops on the hook. We're going into the ring again, picking up the 7th loop, and now do the return pass. Chain 1 again to begin the new row, and loosen the back loop and work as previously shown. We have 7 loops on the hook. Go into the ring and pick up another loop. That will be 8 loops in total. Now do the return pass. Chain 1 to begin the final row and work as previously shown. We have 8 loops on the hook. Go into the ring and pick up another loop. 9 loops in total. Do the return pass. This wing is finally finished. Now we have to close it by doing slip stitches along the row. Slip stitch inside the ring as well. Before we do anything else, it's time to tighten our ring completely. That's how our little butterfly looks like so far. You can leave it like this if you prefer to, but I'd rather do a middle part as well. In order to do that, just turn your work slightly and chain 7 or 8, it depends on how big your butterfly is. We need to cover the middle part completely. When you're happy with how it looks like, just slip stitch into one of the back loops of the butterfly. Chain 1 and leave a generous tail and then cut off your yarn. Now tighten ring a bit more if necessary, and then in order to secure our butterfly we'll have to tie a knot or two maybe. Just make sure everything is nice and secure. Alright guys, all done here. I really enjoy the look of it. We just need to cut off some little antennae for our butterfly. If you don't want to do that, you want to skip this part, just skip this part. But I just like the look of it. Unfortunately, because of the yarn I'm using, which is a cotton with acrylic blend, these antennae are not very stiff like they should be, but anyway, it's good enough for me. In order to fix that, I'm using this smaller size hook and pulling each of them through one of the loops on the sides of the butterfly. Let's see how it looks like. Well, as you can see, it still doesn't look brilliant, but anyway, it doesn't have to be perfect. Nature is never perfect, so our project doesn't have to be perfect either. Okay, it looks pretty well to me. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like, share, subscribe and click the notification bell to receive more notification in the future. Hope you had a great time and see you into the next video.